Okay. Hello.
I think the first time was I was nervous because I was meeting new people for the first time. And is that when we got to the bus at Cromwell and I was trying to get a sense of everybody from here. So there was the slight nervousness. But I think when we drove and then came here, there was some familiarity coming to yeah. Um, but yeah, it was warm. It was surprisingly not as nerve-wracking as I thought it was going to be.
I was a bit nervous at first because I was told it's very intense these days here, and I was very happy and excited to meet everyone.
It was a good feeling to get to know everybody. I was like, wow, everybody's so cool. And I felt comfortable immediately. Yeah, and I was also really excited to start. It was like, I was very excited.
I've been looking forward to this experience. So I think it was a mixed emotion thing, but overall I was really excited.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, my name is Lily.
Lore,
And August.
chapter 1.
Lismon.
Okay, I'm going to sing A Lion Has a Tail. A lion, a lion has a tail. It has a big head, oh, a big head, oh, a big head, and a very small waist.
During the Black Girls Glow residency, we have a series of activities lined up that usher us into and throughout the program. These include share sessions, duos and trios, and workshops on thinking, songwriting, the utility of voice, and more.
When you place the silence at the climax of the story, or where the story is hot and everyone is in there like they are on cloud nine, then you just stop everything. It gives I call it the doomsaw effect. Like the light just goes off. When the light just goes off, everyone is like, oh.
The things that I learned from our voice coach, because he taught us a lot about mannerism and all this, and so I'm going to actually work on that.
First, there's the bringing of each person's personal interests, so the things that they are passionate about, the things that they care about, and then having a song and hearing someone's first verse, for example, and seeing, oh, this is this person's perspective of this particular thing, and seeing how that comes with your own shared interest. And it's not just for, I don't think it's going to go past what we're doing now, past the recordings in the future. Like there's going to be probably an extension or a building up of the things that we've gotten here, or even just the conversations. It doesn't even necessarily have to do with just the recordings, but the conversations that we've had. There is that sense of, I think even in the conversations we've learned that there are lots of things, lots of problems that we have that are in common, and just trying to find, now is figuring out how to continue building that community of people that have shared interests for the causes that we think are important to us.
From one activity to another, there was a new challenge coming all the time. You didn't have time to rest. Something new is coming. And at the same time, you are learning. And I felt like my creativity was really stimulated with the workshops we did before writing. Because when I arrived, I was like, oh, I can't wait to start writing. But then in the meantime, I'm so glad we did all of that before, because I really felt like it was a bit easier for me to get into the writing, even if it was really challenging at some point. But I feel like if we didn't do all of that beforehand, it would have been even harder.
So from the workshops, I've learned a lot, and I think I'm going to apply some of the things I learned about storytelling and casting spells. I'm going to put all of those things and into the project. Yeah.
I felt so low. Because I was not writing as fast as I wanted. I think I already written like 2 verses and I had some ideas, but still it was not enough. I felt like it was not good enough, and I beat myself, like I really beat myself down for that.
There were times where I was trying to write and I was overthinking things and I just couldn't get the right lines to put down, but then it came along. Yeah.
Sometimes I would zone out and I would just be a bit confused for a bit, but I had to like come back, you know, as the situation calls for it. I had to like get back into the mood, and it's a good pressure, so I welcome it.
I would say that for me it was where it got a little bit of a challenge for me was when we started writing songs for the other songs, and how they would, it would swap, and then you have to write in this person's song, and having to do it almost within 15, 20 minutes, or maybe sleep the next day and have something in the morning. That's kind of challenging. But I think by the time I got into 3 songs in, it got a little easier for me. And also there's been a warmth amongst all of us. Like, even if some talk to some more than others, there's still that very communal gisting, just occasional. And then those times when maybe after dinner or after lunch we have like we chat for a bit before going to the studio. Yeah, it's been amazing.
My best moments were the duos and the trios. That was the first time that was like an icebreaker before we started writing and then recording. So it was nice to work with everybody and see where they got the inspiration from.
I learned to actually utilize the place. I was using stones to create some kind of sounds, and it was amazing. I've never tried that before. It was my first time doing that, and it was good.
For every space we use for the residency, we transform one room into a recording studio. We spend a good chunk of our time in this room, in groups and pairs or even singles, recording song after song, until we are satisfied with the results of each song.
When we were putting a song together, like 3 of us, and we were rehearsing for it, and it was like actually coming from very different directions and then merging very well. That was like a very happy moment.
Seeing things that I've written or created come into life, being polished up properly, being sung in the correct voices that I imagined and everything.
I'm not alone, because I've sort of felt that sometimes when I have thoughts or I have opinions about certain things that I feel like I'm the only one in that space. But being here and talking to people, you realize that you're not alone with the things that you deal with here.
When I recorded the Elevation Fine, and it actually came out to be a hit song, even though the song is not out yet, but I know it's going to be a hit song.
Where do we go? Little black girls on the road, feeling kinky fine at the zone. We can rise up from the slums. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where do we go? Little black girls on the road, how we feeling kinky fine at the zone. We can rise up from the slums. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
This year, for the first time, we receive funding. Black Girls Glow has technically been running for 6 years. 5 years if you count the number of times we've been running the residency, because of the pandemic year. And from the very onset of Black Girls Glow, it has been self-funded. But this year, for the first time, we received funding from the Mwakumbuafu Foundation, which has been very monumental to our growth, to the output of our work, the quality of our work, and to making sure everybody's well looked after and well provided for.
Aside the fact that it was like an international ensemble, I think everybody came with their own vibe and everybody came with their own expectations.
Well, from a non-creative perspective, I think it was challenging because it also informed some of the preconceived ideals that they had with coming into the residency. You know, people had different expectations of what their, for instance, previous residencies had been like, and so they were expecting specific things to fit into that and accommodate that. People also have, this is my way of writing, this is my way of, you know, so it brought a little bit of, I want to say, resistance to the process, but once we figured out what the actual process is like for Black Girls Glow, it made it easier. I don't think it was a challenge as much as it was like a learning curve for all of us, because now we know that when we do have instances like this is how we will navigate it.
All right, please, Erica.
I wasn't really constrained in any way like that because, you know, most of the time when when the fellows come for the residency, they take them through like writing sessions and composition sessions and all that stuff. So by the time they are done, and also the round robin sessions, by the time they are done, we listen to the audios they record from those sessions, it kind of gives me an idea of what they are about, yeah. And so I just listen to that and I go with the flow. And then sometimes too, I try to add, they've come to Ghana, especially those who came from outside Ghana. They are in Ghana, so I try to add a bit of Ghanaian taste to some of the productions so that, when they go back home, it shows that, okay, they came to Ghana and this is what they were able to do.
I think the first obvious difference is that we have 7 girls. Last year, we also had less girls, which was 4. But we had girls that came from different places. So we have Cameroon, Berlin, Nigeria, from the north, from Kokrobitey. And so already the difference was in the fact that we had a lot of diverse personalities, but also a lot of diverse cultures coming together. And so that for me is the biggest difference from the last year to this year.
Because we didn't have funding the previous years, participants were restricted to Accra. We could only reach out, or we could only host participants or fellows or artists who were based in Accra. But because we had funding this year, we were able to have people coming in from the northern part of Ghana, from the eastern part of Ghana, from Nigeria, from Cameroon, and thanks to a partnership with Music Board Berlin, we had a fellow from Berlin as well.
This is the first year that we have, in essence, done a few activities before coming to the residence. And so we've had the chance to actually work towards what we want Black Girls Glow to look like.
Everybody's doing multiple roles, and it's crazy how we balance that with our lives. It's like BJJ is like a full time to us, and we have to factor everything else we are doing to fit into BJJ's calendar.
I never thought I was going to be a foodie, but yeah, best meal is probably the food, the dining, the eating on the table, the talking, gisting.
I would say I've got a community. I've been looking for that. I've been looking for people that I could probably turn to when I'm in these moments where I'm not feeling too creative or feeling like I'm in the mood to create. I think I've been able to build relationships where I could also reach out to people more often.
The one thing that I got from this residency is how precious it is to come together as women, as Black women, create together, collaborate. So I would love for us to take up more spaces, create more spaces for ourselves
Something I've learned, something that I've received whilst being here is the songwriting techniques. A few more notes and tips which will definitely go far in the future.
I've learned a lot, and I've also learned a lot from the other girls, because some were doing a lot of things that I didn't know or had less idea about, so I picked from them.
I'm very grateful to be here. I've been trying to be part of this adventure for quite some years now. It's not always worked the way I wanted, and I'm so glad I'm here now, and I'm exchanging with everybody. I'm learning, I'm growing. I can feel like I feel the growth. We are artists who are putting ourselves together to create something, but in the same time, it's not so professional. It feels like a family, and that's something I really like, because I think I've gotten family, and that's what I can say. I feel a bit shy to say it, but yeah, that's how I feel.
We are looking forward to expanding into to have a wide range of international fellows represented. Yeah, I mean, I know when we started, we wanted to kind of try and get everything to be kind of Ghanaian centered, but I think when you start with a vision like this, the vision keeps growing, and then you can't just turn a blind eye to some of the opportunities that get presented to you. Yeah, so I think going on, it can only get big.
Honestly, I think every single year since BGG's inception, it has gotten greater and bigger. And this year, I think, has been a real learning experience, because we've had our residents that are from outside. That has always, for me, been one of the really big goals, I guess, or dreams for BGG, is that we're able to extend it to not just women in our region, but then women that are outside of our region. And so, like, the dream for me is that eventually you could have like BGG Paris, or like BGG Berlin, BGG Lagos. I think the dream is to be able to create a community or network of women creators that can lean on each other, right? I think that's really the goal.